Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And you know what, I woke up this morning thinking it has been a long time since we had a good old-fashioned free-for-all, mainly because nobody ever seems to play them anymore. Don't really know what that's about, but one was played the other day, and if you've paid attention to the name scrolling across your screen, you will realize it contains a veritable who's who of our SOPCOM elite. So I'm pretty excited about this one. It's going to take place on Desert Arena, so without any more of this ridiculous to do, let's go over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Very excited. I usually hate this map because usually it's ladder 1v1, all very dull, lots of open space, but it's gonna be carnage because we've got all these pros in a very tight-knit little grouping here. Let's start right up at the top, since the names are going to keep switching around in the list. Up here in, well, it seems off color to me these days. Breast cancer awareness pink, I think it is. It's PG. He's going UEF, opening first land. To his right over here in baby pink, it's RA's Mad Mozart going his customary Cybran, opening first land. And then down here in the eastern 3 o'clock starting position, it's the one and only BC's Blackheart in Pontiff White. He's going Cybran, opening first land. And then down here at the bottom right hand corner, it's good old Eisen. He's going Cybran Ferrari Red, opening first land. 6 o'clock position down here in electric blue, it's RA's Petric Pawns. He's going Seraphim, opening first land. To his left, in the bottom left-hand corner, it's my good friend GFY Duponi. He's going Seraphim in Hallie Orange, opening first land. And in the 9 o'clock position over here, it's Ben Luke. And I think I've cast him before. Not quite the same thing. It's kind of level. PG and Ben Luke a little bit further down the scale on this one. Anyway, he's going Baby Blue UEF, opening first, second, and third land. And last, but quite essentially never least, it's Luzen in his customary Cyanide Scion, going Aeon and opening first land. So that's the teams and how they stack up. They'll of course all be racing towards the middle to this inner perimeter, this inner ring of mexes, and then of course on from that you've got all of these big old rocks in the middle to vulnerable, or there, sorry, vulnerable, but there for reclaim. I suppose it would be vulnerable if it's a rock. You've got an engineer coming towards you with a big reclaiming laser. You might feel a little bit vulnerable if you had the ability to do so. But PG strutting his stuff up here with his ACU, moving towards the center, seems to be the only person who's going that way with his ACU at the moment. That doesn't mean things aren't going to change. The first little bit of harassment is starting off. It's going to be Mad Mozart going after Blackheart. Manages to pick up a what was that? Was that an engineer or a scout or something? Well, this is on a postcard if you know what that one is. Might well have been a, oh no, that will have been a mole. I think that looks like a mole, little scout there. And that's the point where everyone going, I know what it is. They're typing away, and then you go, shit, you got it right. But oh no, I swore, it's a family show, none of that. But PG not going to hang about in the middle. It looks like he's on the move. He's going to head east and maybe start harassing Mad Mozart. You can see Mozart's queuing up a land factory there. This is going to be absolutely insane to cast. Be prepared for me to miss a ton of stuff in this one, guys. I'm apologizing in advance. But single striker moving south there from Ben Luke manages to pop an engineer, but the Selen and Tham that are waiting for him are going to enact retribution for that. So nicely covered there by Duponi. And these two up here, PG and Mozart, just kind of building up forces. PG's got his ACU quite close to Mozart's perimeter. Mozart's going to queue up a few auto guns there. Don't blame him. Not a bad decision at all. Luzen keeping himself to himself at the moment, starting on an upgrade. He's on about 65-70% done with that already. Blackheart doing much the same, staying in his base. And to be honest, I always think that's the best way to go with free-for-alls. You want to keep your head down and not attract too much tension. RA, Mad Mozart and PG are of different schools of thought though, and they're going to get it on straight away at the 4-minute mark here. Getting a little bit of com-on-com action, and PG's actually eating quite a lot of auto gun fire from that point fence. He's going to want to back up, and now some Mantis come in to continue to press as well for Mozart. PG down to around 7.5k hit points on the tank. Mozart, by contrast, looking considerably more healthy at 9.5k. PG looking for a potential route around the back, maybe a run by if he can get in and start destroying some P-gens. That would go well for him. Meanwhile, Depony getting a little bit of harassment at the front of his base from Ben Luke. Nothing major, doesn't seem anything that he can't deal with, although there's a few Lobos back here as well. You can get those in range of the hydrocarbon, could potentially cause some problems there for him, but that's definitely the T2 engineering suite there that's been upgraded on Luzen's comm, and he's going to start a little bit of a point defense creep towards Ben Luke's base. He might actually be queuing it up more towards the middle, but either way it's going to cause problems for Ben Luke. His best bet is to try and expand away potentially from that. If he can get the better of Depony, he looks a little bit thin on the ground at the moment. He's got his upgrades going on his mexes, but very light on units. Probably going to kill me for casting this one, but I know he'll forgive me because the Irish are very forgiving. No pun there at all. But Eisen down here at the bottom right, got his upgrade going on his comm as well. That's paused at the moment. See what he's actually working on. Lots of reclaim going into the coffers for Eisen. Wouldn't be surprised if he's topping the tables. 4.5k or 4.7k, 4.3k for Luzen. Blackheart 4.2. He's usually topping the tables, but not right now. Blackheart definitely playing a very conservative game in this. Going to throw an upgrade on his comm. But the back and forth continues between these two guys. It's like everybody else is getting along except for the two pink guys. It's the two girls. It's like an episode of Housewives Desert Arena Edition. Everyone's getting along except for these two. Mad Mozart still hasn't managed to get that second auto gun in place yet. PG looking a little bit peaky, 4.5k hit points on the comm, but look at this. Two more Oblivion turrets have gone up while we've been away. Luzen now working on some T1 point defense, just to add insult to industry. Well, I suppose it is insult to the industry down here, but the hydrocarbon has been destroyed. A couple of factories have been destroyed, and as well as the campaign has been going for Ben Luke against Depony, who literally has got very little left. He's completely left the northern door wide open, and Luzen looks like he is ready to stroll in. Point defense creep on this kind of map is absolutely brutal. You can see large wall sections being developed now by three players. You've got Eisen, Blackheart and Luzen all looking to wall off their boundaries. Not a bad little tactic on a map like this. This engineer's working right next to each other, just walling things off, not going after each other. It's like, you build your wall, we'll get on with ours, it's all fine. Still, the war continues, and PG has never looked more ill. 1,500 hit points only on that comm now. Lots of Mantis in tow for Mozart, as well as Medusas. PG has to retreat into the center of his base. This is looking spectacularly bad for the breast cancer awareness cause right now. Baby Pink is all over him. Nice overcharges though, keeping him in the picture. Ben Luke's base is in tatters. Luzen ready with his ACU to move in there and steal all of the mass. And the one person you don't want with extra mass is Luzen. You can say that without any reservation whatsoever. Eisen looking good on Eco. Petrick looking even better, as well as Blackheart. They're pretty similar, 44 to 47 between them. Not a lot going on combat-wise, but certainly looking good on the Eco front, although you get the impression Luzen's Eco is about to jump through the roof. Now he's grabbed those extra mexes in the center of Ben Luke's base. I can't see him getting that back, not with all the point defense that's around that area. PG looking a little bit better, around about the 3k hit point mark now, but Mozart's also into the red. 2,200 hit points to the con. He's been eating a lot of Lobo fire. I think that hasn't done him any favors at all. He's going to have to back off, so that means this skirmish up here that has been ongoing now for the best part of the entire game so far, 9 minutes in, is going to continue. And Blackheart turtling like a bull. Someone should tell him that he should have gone UEF. They are the turtle masters, but I'm sure he's got a game plan. He's got a Cerberus turret in the middle, which is ranging some of Mozart's forward mexes, and that forward PD there very nicely takes them out of commission. Luzen's looking ever so comfortable in his new pad. He's knocked through a few walls. He's tore up the garden. But looky, there goes something. Ben Luke goes down, so Depony actually gets the better of him. I told you I was going to miss things in this one. It's actually impossible to keep track of everything, so somehow Depony gets out of that and still has a base intact. As long as he doesn't get hit by Petrick, he may still stand a chance of getting back in this one, although with the wall sections the way they are, you get the impression that Luzen could be looking to move that way in the near future. That would be spectacularly bad for Depony. 3,800 hit points meanwhile on PG's com. Mozart on around 3k, a little bit over. But still no outright victor in this perma war that's been going on between these two guys. Blackheart, Petrick, Eisen, it's like they're not even playing. It's actually like they're allies. The only thing that makes you think that perhaps that's not the case is this colossal wall that Blackheart has built. The wall sections that were queued up for Eisen seem to have been interrupted. Perhaps Blackheart decided to not play quite so nicely. Depony started wall sections of his own. He's getting some PD in the mix as well. Vipers could be a tide turner though for Mozart. Mozart having access to T2 tech now. PG facing the tech deficit. And I don't think there's any danger of these guys stopping this anytime soon. Too much has been lost already. They are going to keep going at each other till at least one of them is out. It's generally the way these things work. If you love free-for-alls, people don't necessarily do what's best for them. They can get really quite disturbed or angry if they feel they're getting picked on unfairly. So when someone starts on you, that's it. You're going to keep going until they are finished off. Some nice Medusa shells landing in the center of the base there. And PG just 11 mass per tick, less than half of Mozart's eco, so he's not feasibly going to be able to get the tech upgrade, I don't think. And now he's going after Mozart. Is he perhaps contemplating a draw with him? I don't know. He doesn't want to get too close though, because there are now two Cerberus turrets raining fire down upon him. He gets out of range just in time. Mozart almost standing there, taunting him with his commander. Petrick getting a large wall up between him and Depony. And there are talks going on about alliances. Apparently people are talking about potentially allying against Luzen. Maybe Luzen saying it's not fair. And one forward Cerberus turret there from Blackheart was wailing away on one of Mozart's T1 factories, but gets insta-nuked by a volley of missile launcher fire from those Vipers. It's actually Mozart's looking pretty good, and this is playing nicely into PG's hands. It's giving him a reprieve. It's allowing him to get T2. You can see it's 43% done there on that factory. Mozart now seeming to be distracted with Blackheart. Blackheart's got a lot of zappers online in his base. Working on those missiles as they come in. Of course, the Cyber and mobile missile launchers are just so very irritating with their whole splitting routine they do. Cerberus turrets of Mozart's going to keep those Mantis from Blackheart away from the Vipers so he can continue to harass. And 95% done on that T2 for PG. Nothing, literally nothing going on really between Eisen and Petrick, but Petrick starting to exchange some fire, some point defense fire between his base and Deponi's. Only snags a PD there. That looks like it's settling in for a protracted little exchange. That is, of course, if Luzen doesn't come tearing in the front door. PG now working on some T2 engineers. Probably would like to start creeping some triads towards Mozart's base. Mozart potentially fighting a war on two fronts there. It looks like there's going to be no action going on between PG and Luzen in the immediate future. Luzen happy to sit behind his walls, behind his point defense, and just eco. He is the eco whore. Luzen just building up his mexes there. But these trebuchets of Blackhearts could cause a few problems for Mozart. They've been lobbing a few shells his way for the last couple of minutes. Mozart going to move forward, see if he can grab a cheeky kill maybe with his ACU. Knock out one of these trebuchets, that would be nice. Blackheart immediately starts some auto guns. Whether or not he's going to finish them is another matter. Mozart gets a couple of shots off, and I miss another one. Deponi marches on Petrick's comm, and I think he knew he was sandwiched in between now Luzen's extended base and Petrick. It was never going to end well, so that was probably more than likely a suicide stroll. He'd had enough of living. But look at this. Control K is going off. PG decides he needs the mass more than he needs those T1 factories. Mozart really forced to be drawn forward here, and now he's going to eat some Cerberus fire. It's going to persuade him to back up. Blackheart comes in with a bomber over the top, down to around 3,000 hit points on the comm. Drops around 2,000 as he eats a couple of trebuchet shells. Needs to be really careful here. Another bomber incoming. Little bit of fandango there, dodges the shell more or less. More trebuchet fire incoming though. Down to 700, 300 hit points on the clock. He gets to more or less a safer distance, but he's still running around. I don't think he's going to get out of this one. Surely not, and indeed he doesn't. Mozart is defeated, and PG can breathe a momentary sigh of relief. And now the vultures begin to descend on the bottom left-hand corner. Luzen and Petrick wanting to carve up Deponi's old base. Petrick going to throw down some T2 PDs first of all. He's got incoming point defense fire from Luzen there. And those PDs nicely concealed under a couple of Asylums. But some Ilshivers turn up on the scene as well. They're going to go straight after the lead Oblivion turret. There it goes. Now they look like they're moving in to put some pressure on the Evensongs. They could do with taking down this Asylum first. PG going to move in, get some of his reclaim going, maybe pick up some of Mozart's mexes, but he's going to have T3 land from Blackheart to worry about. There's a brick on the scene. How's PG doing for power? He's got a lot stored, but he's not going to be able to overcharge often until he gets a few more P-gens in play. And instead, he doesn't decide to push it. I think that's pretty wise, considering Blackheart just popped Mozart pretty much predominantly at range with those trebuchets. He doesn't want to find himself in a similar situation. He's already under trebuchet fire, down to around 5k HP. Eisen somehow has managed to go the entire game without drawing any attention to himself whatsoever. Monkey Lord nearly complete though as a result. He's nicely turtled up in here with shields. Hasn't got a lot of static D though, but could certainly wipe out one of these two guys. And if I were him, I think the easier target would probably be Blackheart. Goes straight up there. Com is in the middle of the base, whereas Petric's further out west. You can see he's starting to produce some scout planes now, searching for his victim. And now these trebuchets from Blackheart just gonna pummel PG's base. Poor old PG hasn't really been able to recover from the early exchanges with Mozart. That doesn't set him in good stead for a face-off with Blackheart. His one saving grace might be if Eisen chooses to go after Blackheart with this Monkey Lord. He has decided to start a second one. Don't really know what he's waiting for. There's not a lot of point defense in this base. Blackheart going to get another upgrade on the comm there. And Luzen has backed up slightly. He's allowed Petric to migrate. Petric hasn't got his hands on the core mass yet, but it's just a matter of time. Not going to be too difficult for him to get. Just needs to throw another shield gen in here and it should be good to go. Meanwhile, the trebuchet shells continue to land in PG's base, and now his mass is under threat. Two of the core ones have been destroyed. All that's left are two T1s. That's not going to bring him a lot of return on his investment. And now we've got a couple of Serenities at the front of Luzen's base. He's going to put some pressure on Blackheart and say, how do you like some of this? Blackheart moving into Mozart's old base now that he's created a decent bit of breathing room between him and PG. PG just literally down to his ACU, or will be very soon. Cannot contend with firepower of that magnitude. Eisen being very coy meanwhile with this Monkey Lord. I'm not really sure why he hasn't sent it in yet. Maybe he's wanting to get two of them online and go for both Petric and Blackheart simultaneously, and then he can expand like crazy. The only problem with that is he's then instantly at war with Luzen. Of course, if he manages to dispatch these two without taking too much damage on those experimentals, he can just send them both in straight after Luzen. Luzen, though, might have defense in time. GC on the way, 50,000 hit points banked already. So by the time those Monkey Lords are done and have moved on Eisen's neighbouring opponents, that GC will probably be in play and probably in pretty good shape to destroy what's left after those spider bots have taken damage. Monkey Lord very nearly done that second one. First one on the move. Question is to where? It looks like it's going towards the middle. It wouldn't be a terrible maneuver if Eisen went straight after Luzen. 113 mass per tick at the moment. Blackheart and Petric ecoing the best on 134 and 147. Who's done the best on reclaim? Blackheart has banked nearly 20k mass. Petric only 9. Luzen 18. And Eisen 7. He's been in his base pretty much the whole time. But the Monkey Lord breaches the front of Blackheart's base. The Cerberus turrets open up. He's got a couple of bricks in there as well, which are going to add a significant amount of extra damage. Monkey Lord prioritizes those, but Blackheart, are you going to stand tall? A couple of overcharges might actually bag you a kill, but Eisen has sent both of the Monkey Lords after him. First Monkey Lord defeated, but the second one bags Blackheart. Down he goes, ejected at 21 minutes to a Monkey Lord. That's what you get for trusting Eisen, he says. Well, yeah, more or less. And once again, PG gets a reprieve because of someone more southeasterly, sorry, than the guy who's been harassing him. There are now some shells incoming from Luzen's base that he has to worry about. I doubt Luzen's going to be committing any great resources to dealing with him, but that GC's online and that Monkey Lord is not going to fare well against it. It hasn't even got its laser firing on it. A straight battle, remember, a GC will win against the Monkey Lord with more or less 50% of its HP intact. Luzen airdropping engineers over to the east, and Eisen and Petrick need to join forces against Luzen if they have any hope of stopping him now, I think. I'm not sure they're going to get the opportunity, though. Eisen is hastily erecting a new Monkey Lord, but it's not going to be done in time, I don't think. That GC seems to be beelining straight for his base. What is Eisen short of? He's got a lot of mass, but not a lot of power. When he finishes that T3 fusion, or that ion, sorry, that ion reactor, him being Cybran, he finishes that, he should be good to expend that, but I don't think he's going to get the time. Eisen walking headfirst into GC fire, gets within a shield just in time. He's bought himself a little bit of a reprieve, but what you going to do? He knows it's all over. There's nothing in the way of defense. Throws in an overcharge there for good measure. He could probably get another one in. If he gets a few overcharges in there, he might take off enough HP to allow Petrick time to destroy this GC, but down he goes. 23.5 minutes. Eisen is ejected from the game, and then there were 3, or I should say 2 and an ACU, because PG still not really re-established yet. Question is, what if anything can Petrick do to deal with this GC? GC breaches the walls. There just isn't enough point defense in this base to deal with it, and I'm not saying that's a failing. You don't want to dump too much into your turtling, otherwise you won't be able to expand. Petrick's throwing an upgrade on his commander. Take a look at what he's actually got on that comm. Still 43,000 hit points left on that GC. Tech 3 now on that comm. He's also got the gun upgrade as well. 35k hit points left. That GC primarying the entire Seraphim power grid, and Luzen's going to be in really good shape after this one. Petrick looked like he was going in to throw a couple of overcharges in there, and then thought better of it as the shields were blinking on and off, suffering cataclysmic power failure. An overcharge would do it now, but he's going to let a T1 PD have all the glory there. I think something else actually got it, but that's a pretty significant amount of damage inflicted upon Petrick's base. One saving grace, of course, is the fact that there is now a GC wreck in pretty safe territory for him. Luzen starting to pile up the T3 on his border with Petrick meanwhile, however, and of course all of these engineers getting busy in Blackheart's base, getting all of that reclaim. What's Petrick's eco like now? Just 48 mass per tick. He's got a lot of his mass extractors intact. That is just because he's bottlenecking power. That will increase once he sorts his power out. You can see That is his primary focus at the moment, get those T3 power gens back online. But another experimental from Luzen. He's just pooping them out now. Hasn't started anymore. This one is going to be very difficult for Petrick to stop. I'd be surprised if he manages it, to be honest. All of that build capacity just about to finish off that T3 power gen and allow him to get back in play. What? GC sucks up a T2 Seraphim transport. That looked bizarre. Petrick gets out of range there for the minute, but doesn't escape. That was very, very amusing. Petrick goes down 26.22 minutes, and all that's left is PG cowering in the top corner. He's putting on an upgrade on his comm for good measure, but we can safely say that's not going to change anything in this one. Down goes Petrick's base as all of those buildings detonate. Someone was actually saying in the argument for full share, we had one of the full share casts the other day, that it is more like a real war. The fact that all of the stuff, you kill the government, all the army's still intact. Well, yes, but remember, this isn't a real war. This isn't a real country. This is autonomous robots being controlled by a single human being in a control ACU, so it would stand to reason when that ACU goes pop, so does all of the stuff, or at the very least it would lose all of its commands. But PG going to face off against the Harby. Doesn't seem to have the power to overcharge. Attack. He's lost his power storage, so he's got to deal it mano a mano. Luzen throws a Mercy in there for good measure. That takes off enough HP, and that Harby will get the job done. 27 3/4 minutes, and Luzen emerges victorious once again. He is just so very dangerous. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.